Greetings, this is Griff Ruby with part 66 of my series, Ecclesiology for Sedevacantists, based on Dogmatic Theology, Volume 2, Christ Church, by Msgr G. Van Noort. Continuing here, we just had a rather fascinating quote that Jesus Christ did not hand over the government of his church to Caesar, he handed it over to Peter and the apostles. I mean, that refutes, all of that quite well. Certainly the Protestants and the East Orthodox quite thoroughly. And once you see what's going on, the Novus Ordo as well. See, because traditional Catholic, we're not getting anything from Caesar. Caesar doesn't know we exist, or, as far as he's concerned, we're a drop in the bucket. One of those tiny numbers in the bottom line that's so small they can't even tell it's there. So Caesar doesn't know too much about us yet, just as they didn't back in the first days of Christianity in the first century. So, continuing, we can then justly dismiss all such apostolic pretenders, Eastern or Western, with these words of Tertullian. Let them show, then, that the line of their bishops descend in such fashion through successors right back to the beginning, that their first bishops had, as their consecrators or immediate predecessors, either one of the apostles themselves or one of those men with apostolic era who at the same time preserved in unity with the apostles. Well, I went through this before, back in, I think, installment 48, where there's really two ways to prove that you have legitimate bishops. You either have a legitimate pope, such as, say, Pius XII, who recognizes the bishops, and then you have or you have this direct succession, which would be from the beginning, or you could combine the two and say, if a pope, say Pius XII, recognized a bishop, and then that bishop and a bunch of bishops, and those bishops, or at least as many as remain in the church, continue to recognize their own succession, you see, then there is the succession. So we have that succession. The Novus Ordo, by going to their conspicuous errors and their schism, do not have that at all. They may occupy some similar places, just as even the East Orthodox and the Anglicans and the Lutherans in the Scandinavian countries, but they're no more real successors than all those other clowns. So that's, see, we can show that. We alone can show that. If Tertullian could issue that challenge back in the 2nd century and no heretic could take it up, it should be limpidly clear how little chance any schismatic or heretical bishop of 1,000 or 1,600 years later could have to lay claim to apostolic succession. Okay, so next. No, I think we can continue. All right, Proposition 2. The Roman Catholic Church, traditional Catholics, does possess this mark of apostolicity. Proof. It has apostolicity of membership. First, it should be evident that the Roman Catholic Church is older than all other Christian societies, since they only came into being by separating from it. This fact itself implies, by the argument of exclusion, that the Roman Church is the continuation of that church which existed under the apostles' personal rule. The church of the apostles was certainly promised indestructibility and consequently must still exist. Since the rest of the Christian societies did not spring up until long ages after the apostolic era, the only thing one could conclude is that the Catholic Church alone is that society which was planted by the apostles. So we know the departure of the Eastern schismatics at their various times, 1054 principally, and some others for some other smaller societies. We know the separation of the Protestants in the 1600s, and the separation of the Novus Ordo we know very specifically to 1964. So all of these, in each of these cases, the same separation took place. It is a separation, and when they separated themselves from the church and from the faith, they vanished into error. And now here, we traditional Catholics are that, what do you want to call it, remnant of what's left that has not departed. And so we are that society that goes all the way back to the beginning. No one else can truthfully make that claim. Very important. Okay. So, even more startling is the fact that no one can assign any plausible date later than the apostolic era for the beginning of the apostolic for the Catholic Church. So striking is this fact that rationalists have dreamed up various theories to try to account simply for its origin through some sort of natural evolution. These theories simply have no plausibility to them. Actually, they are completely ruled out in positive fashion by what is discussed at length in chapters 1 and 2. So that's obviously been covered before. We will continue in the next part. Thank you.